And welcome to Cherries Red Army. We hope you're having a fantastic week. We are live on YouTube and Twitter. We got some fans backstage with some full opinions that they want to tell you about this evening, and we want you to get involved in that interactive chat. Do subscribe, do hit the like button. Andoni Iraola's in the building. Pre-season is in full flow. What have we got coming up this evening? Good evening and welcome to Cherries Red Army. We've got our panel on the screen. Aaron, Kaye, another day of cricket today. I'm sure you're going to tell me about that, but how are you doing this week?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah. Good days of cricket. I'm not sure if anyone really cares about it or not, but yeah, England did okay, I guess, but tomorrow's a big day. But yeah, on to Cherries. Yeah, all good. Very good. Another week closer to the season starting. So yeah, looking forward to it. And the players back, as I'm sure we'll talk about. So some videos to watch, which has been nice.
Brilliant. Steve Hensman, has your new back arrived yet, or is it improving?
No, neither. It's not improving, and I haven't had a new back. But I'm clinging on to the day when we've got AI will make me half man, half machine. Hopefully, at this rate. So I don't know. I've got a specialist on Monday, so hopefully I'll know a bit more then. I can maybe get past this, ready for the new season. But I'm generally okay, mate. Yeah, good.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Right, we're in for a treat tonight. We've got a special guest. Keffy T, Keith Thomas, Bournemouth fan. How are you doing, Keith? You've been on before. Great to have you on this evening. Great to listen to what you've got to say. How are you doing?
Yeah, steady as she goes, Kirk. Steady as she goes. Actually got news that we're being accepted for a flat, so we'll be moving in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all, mate.
Busy for you then. Let's see who's joining us in the chat this evening. Stephen Dyer up north. How are you? Hope you're well. Liam Humby, thank you very much. Chris Hubble, Mark Cole, Luke Andrews, thank you very much. Appreciate some of you that are doing some really good comments as well within the YouTube channel, videos and social media. Cameron Meach, how are you? We've got Archie joining us. Omid, good evening. Alan and Mark Singleton. Anyone else joining us this evening, do put it in the chat and we will show it on the screen. Keffy T, do you know what? We've been talking about Andoni Iraola and the change of management from Gary O'Neill to Andoni. We've had a few weeks now discussing him. We'll talk a little bit more about him this evening as well. But I would like to know what your thoughts were when you heard the news that Bill Foley switched up the management.
Thought it was a brave move. I think we were all scrambling about, wondering who this guy is, but I think we've had a good look at him now. He looks like the real deal, mate. Obviously, we've got to start the season. We've got West Ham first, and then a really, hard run of games. But he seems to be the sort of character that's really looking forward to those big games. So, from what I've seen at the moment, he's saying all the right things, and I'm sure we'll talk about that tonight. But I haven't been this enthusiastic actually since Eddie came back. So it's going to be something different, something new. And I think we've already seen in the pre-season training footage that it seems a different vibe. And, the Eddie era, the legacy's there, but the era's over. And I think it's time to embrace the new one.
That's a very good point, though, Steve, isn't it? I mean, we're getting some glimpses now from the social media, from admin on Twitter. We're seeing some clips of the players in training, but it does feel like for the first time we have someone who has some quality about himself, but also has been around a little bit now in Spain, and he's earned his stripes and he's ready for the big challenge ahead, like we've spoken about in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and he likes carrying footballs around, doesn't he? I've noticed that. I've got 3 footballs. He's bloody like an octopus, that man. He's got balls everywhere. Let's hope he's got balls with our play. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to. And like we've said, he looks like everything he's saying and doing so far would lead towards that. it's I always find this a bit difficult when they start putting the preseason warm-up stuff, because it's always intense. They're always coming back. They're always getting fitness tests. It's all a bit of rondos, and everyone, especially now, because I think there's been quite a bit of footage of some of the lesser players, or say lesser players, but the players we not necessarily think are going to be around the team. The likes of Gav Kilkenny are back in there, James Hill's back in there, and we're seeing them guys. And I wonder if they're, he sort of said to the guys, it's a blank canvas, guys. You've all got as much chance as anyone else in getting in this team. Go out there and impress me. So, I mean, we've seen stuff. We saw quite a lot of Jaden Anthony in one of the footage, some of the footage, and he looks right on it. So I think, for a lot of these guys, it's another crack at the team. So some of the big guys that have been on the fringes. So yeah, I mean, it all looks good. And he's, like I say, he's saying all the good things, and he speaks very well. Passionate guy. So let's see what he brings.
First week in office, then Aaron, and he was shown around by Simon Francis, and he has done some media duties already. What I can see, what I was saying all along, is you need a clear message to the rest of the departments within the club that help you be a successful club. He clearly comes across. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants to get out of the team. He knows what he wants to deliver for the fans. And he's saying all the right things. Ultimately, we're going to need to see it on the pitch. But I believe it, Aaron.
Yeah, it's a bit of breath of fresh air, really. Someone coming from the outside with new ideas, a clear identity. He speaks incredibly good English, which is obviously a really good start. He's coming across in his interviews, in the press conference that was released yesterday, very relaxed, quite smiley. Seems to be kind of embracing the pressure and looking forward to it. But very, very clear, as you say, with this is how I want my teams to play. It's not necessarily very, an offensive or defensive, but it's about being committed. But he clearly has his way of playing, and he needs to implement that, and it does take time. But his philosophy is what we want to see, and hopefully we can embrace it. But yeah, I've been, like the other two have said, I've been really impressed with just so far. It was early days, obviously, with the vibe around him. Pleased to see that. We're probably touching it, but he's bringing an assistant manager in and his conditioning coach, so two people he knows very well, to complement what we already have. So I think that's good on both sides. So yeah, as Steve said, difficult to tell early on. They do that leg power thing every year. I always watch that, and they're pushing up. I try to do it. It looks easy.
Standing jump.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. So they all seem to do that. So I think a lot of
centimeters of mine.
a lot of those look similar. So but obviously the training drills will be new. But yeah, it's exciting. And I think and Keith and Steve both said, some of the players we haven't seen for a long time, they're the ones who have been in focus. Some of the internationals haven't come back yet. I've noticed, obviously, the likes of Phil Bill, Christie, Dango, still a few still to come back. Haven't seen them yet. So hopefully they'll be back soon and raring to go.
It generally happens, doesn't it, Keith, when a new guy comes to the club? It's a different country, it's a different challenge. I am definitely expecting him to bring some trusted people with him. He's going to want to embed some values into Bournemouth. He's going to want to keep some of the good, which he spoke about in his opening interview. But he's also going to want to improve us, and that will come with change as well. So he might also bring some players that have previously played for him to just embed what those values, the identity, the process of what he wants to deliver week in, week out on the pitch. But ultimately as well, he is going to give some of these players that may have fallen out of favour a new chance.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a blank slate for everyone. What I really was impressed with is the emphasis of the collective over the individual. And that seems to be a feature of Spanish football, of continental football. And so he's looking for a team of people that can gel together. And he's clearly looked at what we have already. He's done his homework on us. And he recognises there's a strong bond within the team. And I think he'll build on that. Obviously, he's going to add in additions, and we'll get to talk about that later. But I like the way he's just got the values there. He's giving also the impression I get that the players have to take responsibility for what they do. It's not joystick management, which we've kind of had under Gary O'Neill and also Parker. It's all about, these are the problems you're going to get. You've got to go out there and solve them. So I'm just really impressed in the way he thinks about football. Obviously, what he's done with Iraola is amazing when you think about it. And I think, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. And whatever preconceived ideas we've got, I think he's going to surprise us a little bit.
He will have some plans as well, Steve, like we've spoken about how he can improve this squad. Eyes are on the players during pre-season, and we talked about those clips. I think Sabani looks a beast by the way in some of those clips, and I think he can be a massive player for us. But what's he looking at early doors, first week in? What's he looking at in the training ground at the moment?
Well, I think he's already said it, hasn't he? He's sort of already come out and said commitment. That's what I want. I want from those players commitment first and foremost. And I think it was evident in some of the training drills we were seeing. I particularly liked the little sort of kind of a rondo drill where it was a 5-on-3 where they were obviously emphasising overloads and sort of dealing with overloads, working really hard. So yeah, he obviously, I think he's put a lot smilier sort of take on what Scott Parker was essentially saying. Really, it's hard work. He's got a way of putting it over in a bit more of a nicer way than Scott was. But essentially, it's commitment from the team and hard work all around the pitch. And and it's as a team, as a collective. They attack as a collective, they defend as a collective. And it's too many times over the last sort of 2 or 3 years I've noticed in our play it has been fragmented in that way a bit. There is a sort of a bit of a bridge between our attack and defence is not quite there at some points. And if we can get that, as a collective, working higher up the pitch as he's spoken about, winning the ball back and being efficient with it, taking our moments, I think we're in for we're going to see some very, very interesting matches, if not very exciting matches at Dean Court this coming season.
Do tell us your thoughts throughout the evening in the interactive chat when we're talking about specific topics, but I am seeing a vibe going around there and where everyone seems to be buzzing, ready for the pre-season fixtures. They look very, very focused in those pre-season clips that we've seen already. Goals. There looks like there's goals in this team. I mean, look, I might be exaggerating it because I'm just being optimistic, but it looks like we have got a drive to open up teams and find ways of scoring different goals this season.
Well, I think that's going to be the aim. We didn't score enough goals last season. I think, we were rigid in our approach, and we have been for a number of years. But I think, what Andoni's hopefully going to bring is a bit more of a freedom, a license to bomb on overloads, etc. He's just, as I've already mentioned, he's a very smiley character. He's putting his arms around a lot of players in training. I know a lot of managers do that, but it does mean a lot. I'm not sure we saw that as much. That that's kind of the Eddie style very much. The way he kind of managed people and put his arm around them, had his individual chats. So, I think everyone's got, as everyone said, everyone's got a point to prove. I think he's going to really look to our attacking players. I think pace is important, speed's important. Finishing ability, and I just think he's going to try and coach that into us. It's not going to be easy because we're used to a certain style of play or certain identity, but everyone's got to buy into it, and everyone hopefully is looking to impress and has total buy-in.
Yeah, last season, Keith, we had our lowest score in Premier League season of 37, and I know that he's spoken about us being really positive going forward, out of possession, in possession, everyone has to buy in. I just felt last season under two head coaches we set up too much focus on the opposition, and I want us to be the ones that teams are worried about us a little bit more this season. Not every week, there will have to be some tactical amendments to what we do, but if we've got aspirations of maybe finishing mid-table and a little bit higher in a few years, we're going to have to put our own focus on the football game and make teams think about us rather than the other way around. And for all the effort and good stuff that Gary O'Neill did do in April, it was always setting up teams to try and nullify the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems to be the hallmark of both Parker and Gary O'Neill, that they went into with a mindset, we don't want to lose, rather than let's go out and win. And as I say, the vibe is different. I don't think it's fair for any of the big teams because he's already beaten big teams with arguably a lesser squad. So he seems to be very much focused on its product across the team. It's not going to be one focal point. It's going to be, he wants contributions in goals from his fullbacks. He plays essentially with 3 10s. That seems to be how they operate. When I've seen Real, I've got Prime, so they get La Liga games. I had a look at it, and he wants freedom, but he's not irresponsible. It's kind of very balanced, and as I say, what has been lacking as well is the basics. You were talking a couple of podcasts ago about like Dom, balls bouncing off Dom. And it's noticeable because he's obviously the main man, the striker, but that seemed to be across the whole pitch. And what he's done, and if memory recalls, Parker was like the first 2 weeks, gym work, running around, getting stamina and all that. He's just gone in there, say, here's the ball, we're going to work with the ball. And like Steve's pointed out, the rondos, it was a lovely little like lofted pass over the top. I think it was from Anthony to Cliver. And he was in space, and that's exactly what they want. And he's going quicker, because you want that thinking time. Too many times last season, I think we were hesitant. We were wondering, where do I have to, particularly Kelly, but I think sometimes Christie was like that. Where do I play the ball? Having to think about it, and you haven't got that time. You've got to have to be able to work in the tight spaces as well. And he's immediately said, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be intense. But that seems to me that he wants his players comfortable on the ball because they're going to be technically good. And that's what he's raising. And that's probably something he's identified already. It says they've got to be better, their touch, they've got to be better with their passing. Last season we were giving the ball away far too easy, for my opinion, particularly as we were defensive. So I think he's done a lot of homework, and I think he's seen these are the areas I want to work on. Even before we get out to Marbella, I want to work on these things.
Yeah, I mean, you can't play at 90 miles an hour for 90 minutes, Aaron, but we do need to get the quick feet going, get our attacking players in positive areas, not allowing the opposition to reset too many times and take those chances and score more than 40 goals has got to be the target, and achieve 40 points will obviously be the target as well.
I think he's frozen.
I will come to you with that question, Steve, as Aaron's just frozen. 40 points, scoring more than 40 goals, being more proactive, getting the opposition turned a lot more often.
Yeah. Well, he's spoken time and time again about being efficient, hasn't he? And sort of, so I think the idea is to when we lose the ball, we try and win it at as high up the pitch as we can, as quickly as we can, and create a chance or get overloads into the box. And punish the teams for losing the ball so high up the pitch. And I think that's what he's getting at of trying to be efficient. He's also said that at times that's going to leave us vulnerable at the back, and we're going to have to deal with that. And I think that's what the Rondo's show in a way, because it's the attacking 5 is the overload, and the defending 3 is the vulnerable, counter-attack defensive position we're having to deal with. So it's kind of dealing with both sides of it in one little routine, which I think is very, it's very basic, but it's very, it's clever, and it's what he wants to do. I also enjoyed the attacking stuff we were seeing. It was very, very quick. It's very, very pacey. You have runners intertwining, going either side, giving options, dragging defenders left and right, and either creating a pass for the guy who had the ball or creating the space for that guy to have a shot. So it's not rocket science stuff, but it's certainly showing everybody exactly what his intentions are. It's quick, fast, it's efficient, as he likes to call it. But it's, as Keith said, it's not giving people the time. When you say about people having too much time to think on a ball, I always go back to Aston Villa away, where Dom was through on goal, and he had it seemed like forever to think about it, and ended up doing nothing. And those are, I think, just need to snap, be efficient with it. A bit like Billing was at Leicester. He latched onto that bad back pass, and within 2 touches, it's in the back of the net. That's the sort of thing.
Premier League predictions might be coming in about 2 or 3 weeks, but Samuel thinks we will finish 12th this season.
Like
Bill
that.
Foley would definitely buy into that. Let's just pick up some of these chat
That's what the
comments.
prices will be next year if we go finish 12th.
Well, we'll go for mid-table. That's what Bill Foley wants. Aaron, you're back with us. I talked about Sabani. One of our greatest ever players to wear the shirt was Nathan Ake. He was a centre-back. Sabani looks so good on the ball, off the ball, like a lot of money. But I'm really excited about Sabani. Whole pre-season, hopefully, straight in the team, and he could be an absolute gem of a centre-back for us.
Yeah, a lot of it. We didn't get to see a lot of him last season, only towards the end of the season. So, you know, he showed in patches. Obviously, didn't look fully match fit, but he showed what he can be about. But, you know, he's strong. He's actually quite quick as well. Plays the ball out. He looks like he's got everything about him. And, you know, that really does excite me that, you know, he's obviously a full international, very young still, played a lot of internationals, played at quite a high level. So, yeah, really, really impressed with him. And if we can keep him fit, I think, you know, it's so important. You know, we don't score a huge amount of goals. Hopefully, as we've talked about, that will change quite a lot this season. You know, a club of our size in the Premier League is always going to likely to concede goals. So, you know, hopefully with the likes of Zabani, Senesi, etc., we can really form a formidable partnership which can deal with any counterattacks that we come up against. Because we're going to, as we said, we're going to be putting a lot of players in forward positions. So the defence is going to be critical this year. But yeah, really excited about him and really hope he has a full, healthy and injury-free season for us.
Keith, Will says our squad is underrated. I believe Iraola will bring out the quality they have. Look, it's going to be a tough start. It's the Premier League. We need to stick with the team. I'm okay if results don't go the way completely at the start, as long as I can see what's trying to be achieved on the pitch, as long as we can see that there's a plan, an identity, and we're missing out on a couple of points here or there. We need to pick up points, of course. It's going to be a tough start. We're going to need to stick with Andoni and the team. But yeah, any appointment's a risk, surely.
Absolutely. But if you don't take risks, you don't get the rewards. I mean, we can sail along and keep doing the same thing and get frustrated, as we all did last season. Or we entrusted in this young upcoming European manager, and you know, it's his opportunity to really put his name, not in the Premier League, but in international football, full stop. So, but one thing I was really impressed by the way he plays, as I say with Real, is the amount of times, and I think we've got exactly the right player for this. Is Dom? Is that if you're a centre back, and a lot of teams like to play out from the back. If you're a centre-back that's not paying attention, Dom will be right on top of you. And the lads on the wide as well, Tara or whoever we're going to be having there, Cliver or Christie or whoever. If you're not on your game, you're going to you're going to get under a lot of pressure. And I think he quite likes teams playing out for the back. We won't be. We'll be getting the ball direct and quickly up there. And I think when you've got someone like Dom who really does press down, I was watching Real, and there was a guy, Isi, who was the inside forward for them. And the amount of times he's right on top of the centre back and he's stolen it, and then all of a sudden it's back pedal, and it's panic. And that's what he's all about. It's the pressing is really intelligent as well, and he's pressing in the midfield. So if you're a deep line playmaker, you're going to have Billy on top of you. So it's all about, it's not one-to-one, it's hunting in little packs, and it's all about the partnerships and everything like that. So, so we're going to be quite a different team from what we were last season when we just sat back. Let's have it, you know, we'll just sit there and surrender things.
We spoke about this before, Keith, to quickly get your thoughts on Dom Solanke. Does he do enough to stay in this team long term if he doesn't score enough goals?
Absolutely. 100%.
As a striker?
Falcao at Real got 5. But you look at his contribution. They don't, the Spanish, the Italians as well, they don't look at like we do in England, the number 9. The most important player in Spanish football is the number 10. It's the provider. And he would look at someone like Dom, who is a multifaceted player, and he's going to be the conductor of our orchestra. And I think you're going to see a very, very different type of player that hasn't been allowed to be unleashed, because he will drop deep. He will go wide. He will go down the channels. He's going to be with those, as I say, those kind of 3-10s with Anthony and Cliver and potentially Christie. Tavs, I think he could be going into the wing-back role. I think everything's going to be revolving around him. And then I think you'll find, personally, I think you'll find Billing going deeper as the link-up man. But it's not about, and if you think about it, Pep under Guardiola, did he play with a 9? No, he played with a 10, a false 9. He wants someone to create, and if he gets goals, that's fair play. He wants people in the box. He doesn't care who scores. It's about getting that goal. And if we get the right fullbacks in, who are the attacking side, then it's going to be a lot more opportunities to put them in. So, from my point of view, I think he's the absolute key.
And the pre-season games are coming very soon, so we might get a few snippets of what we might see under Andoni. I said this last week. I don't think he'll give too much away, but it'll be interesting to see where certain players fit in, because I know that Steve's talked about maybe moving Dom and bringing a striker in, and all these type of conversations we're having, Marcus Tavernier. So let's see what we see in the next few weeks. But the positive conversations keep happening about Andoni, and let's hope that continues as we lead up to West Ham. So Andoni's in the office and pre-season's underway. Monday morning, the club, the admin on Twitter, were quick out of the blocks to announce our home kit, guys. Proper stripes are back. Yes, it was a home kit release. That's all we've got at the moment. We've got people there, players there from the women's team, men's team, and red and black proper stripes. Following the completion of the club's 100th season in the Football League, the 23-24 home jersey moves back to a more traditional style. And we'll get the guys' thoughts on this in a moment, but I do like it. You watching on YouTube right now, I do like this kit. Adult shirts are priced at £65 in adult men's and women's sizes, and £45 for youth sizes, with some discounts if you're a season ticket holder. Look, tell us in the chat how you feel about that home kit. Proper stripes are back. Steve, I like it. Dom's there. I really, really like this one. Let's break this down, shall we? Because I know I've had some opinions when we asked the fans' thoughts on Twitter, and there was mixed reviews around the kit. Some liked it, some didn't. But what did you think when it was released?
I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best I've seen for a long time. But anyone who knows me, I'm very much a traditionalist. I'm very much a sort of clean-looking top. I'd almost go so far as to say it's more black and red than it is red and black this season. It's sort of black with red stripes almost. Yeah, love it. The only thing I don't love is the price. And I think that's going to be the bugbear of a lot of people. I think it's an absolute... I think it's a joke, to be honest. But it is bloody nice. So I probably will give in. However, I'm biting my lip until I do so.
A lot of people have said that, Aaron. Love it. Really refreshing kit. We'll probably wait till it goes into the sales. I mean, I was expecting it to go up maybe by £5. That seems to be historically what happens. I think this has gone up by £10. This is alongside other increases that have happened in the last few weeks. We know that we're in a cost of living crisis as well. Yeah, look, it's a nice shirt, but it's getting up a bit now, isn't it? £65.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, first of all, the kit itself, it's grown on me, definitely. When I first saw it, I wasn't too sure because, as Steve said, there's a lot of black in it. And it reminded me quite of a Man City away kit, very much. But I also prefer the stripes, clean stripes, to, the kind of jazzy stuff we've had last season and what have you. So I'm also more of a traditionalist, and I do like but I prefer more of an even red and black. But we'll come on to that with our favourite kits a bit later on. So yeah, but I do like it. Am I going to get it? I'm not sure. It is pricey. I mean, I've got 2 boys to buy for as well, so they'll be the priority for me, to be honest with you, over whether I get one or not. I mean, they get their junior cherries discounts. It's going to, obviously, for the kids, it's £5 off, whatever. I mean, and I looked at some other clubs, and it's in line with other clubs. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. It's just the way it's going, isn't it? So it's. I think most clubs are around about that sort of £65 level as well. Doesn't make it right, obviously. But yeah, I do like the kit. Definitely like the kit, and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the release of the away and third kit. It's not normally as far apart as this, or as far as I know, but I think that would also be quite key for me, because maybe I might get the away kit again. I'll see how it goes, but yeah, but liking the kit.
In the main, Keith, looking at the comments from Twitter and Instagram, a lot of thumbs up for it, some thumbs down. Some wanted a collar from a previous jersey that we had. The release was also alongside a montage with a motto, "We fly high," which also sort of didn't feel a little bit right to some people. Together, anything is possible. We know that it's always advance, never retreat. And now it's "We fly high." And I'll come to you in a moment, Steve. How are you feeling about the new motto?
I don't. Quite simply, it's just a phrase, isn't it? Yeah, together anything's possible is obviously been our motto for a long time. But we fly high. What? Have we all popped off to Amsterdam? Flying high over there or something like that?
Is it a reference to the red flag?
Maybe. Well, if it's that abstract, but yeah, I get you have to have your little catchphrases and all that to sum up what the club is.
I was going to say, it's almost like watching an episode of Catchphrase of late, in around Bournemouth, with all these mottos and phrases being banded around.
It's very blue sky thinking, isn't it? Very blue sky committee thinking in that. So, no, it's what happens on the pitch. So if they would have that and that makes Bill happy, then good on him.
But go on, Steve, because I know you love the kit. Maybe mixed reaction around the video and the motto, the message. But Bill Foley's trying to stamp his authority in his first full season. He's doing some good stuff with the infrastructure. We fly high. Are you flying high?
I thought it was one of the most cringeworthy things I've ever seen. Quite personal. Well, to be honest with you, no, I'm not bothered about the filming of it, the video itself. I thought it was nicely put together. The media, the media department did well on that. The thing that got me was the Chris Temple monologue, which I just thought was horrendous. And I'm quite surprised he actually said he'd do it, because it is just marketing rubbish, really. It's just, let's just chuck a load of cheesy phrases together as though it's us against the world. We're the fans, the community. And it's all, it's like these videos we've seen at Dean Court with the us against the world, the Winter Gardens footage, and blah 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 blah. We all love you. We're all one together. We are, until we want to sting you in the backside for money. And then we're going to whack the prices up on everything. So they love us, and they now seemingly just want more of our money. No, it's a sad indictment of what's going to happen, I'm afraid. But this is the way our club will be going from a commercial aspect. I don't necessarily concur with it, and I think it's a bit cringeworthy and tacky, actually. It just lacks a little bit of class for me.
But the home kit is very nice, and it's available in store, and you can get it £65. And it did get us thinking, didn't it, guys, about our favourite home, away and third kits in the Premier League. So look, we'll have a little bit of halftime fun in this stream. So you can get involved in the interactive chat, and we want to know what your favourite Premier League, favourite home kit, favourite away kit, favourite third kit. So not necessarily your top 3, but just your favourite home, away and third. So I'll go first, guys, and do get involved in the chat if you want to tell us about your favourite kit. So I went for the 2016-17 home kit, got the collar, Jack Wilshere. Someone spoke about collar earlier on in the comments. In the away, it's the one I'm wearing tonight with the light blue 17-18. And then, yeah, I've gone for it. I've gone for the 2015-16 pink. I don't mind a bit of pink. Going out for a night with a wife, I don't mind a bit of pink. And I did like that pink
How many
shirt.
times have you honestly worn that on a night out with your wife?
I haven't worn that. I haven't worn my Bournemouth shirt, but I don't mind a bit of pink. So that's my favourite home, away and third kit. Now, Aaron, let's come to you. Let's see what you've picked. For your favourite home, away and third, you went for 16-17. You've gone for 2015-16 away with the half and half blue. And you've got the last year black, which I think you're wearing right now, the 22-23 is your favourite third kit. Come on then, tell us about these kits and some of the players you might think about when you're looking at those kits.
Well, my favourite one definitely is the black one I'm wearing now. I just absolutely love it. It's smart. It is something I would wear out. I don't often wear my kit out. I never really have done, but it's, you know, it's smart in its own right. You know, there you go. I just think it's just a nice, it's simple, and as I said, it's smart. It's something you can just wear, you know, leisurely, and I just like it. The home kit I've gone for, as with you actually, was the 16-17 one. As I said before, I'm more of a traditional equal red and black stripes. I like a bit of equality, and I just think that, you know, this year's one is a bit too much black, and I think 2 years ago was a bit too much red. You know, that was the very thin stripes. So I do like the kind of traditional red and black thick stripes, and it was a good season to remember. And then my favorite away kit, I mean, yeah, this was a bit tricky for me. I went for that one, simply the blue. Is that the one? No, it's not that one.
I've got the championship version, because you remember they used it. This was the promotion one with the Energy Consulting, and then they changed it to Mansion and just used the same shirt.
Same one, yeah. So that's one. It just reminds me, obviously, I had to put one for our first season in the Premier League. That, you know, that great team Eddie brought up, you know, Richie and Francis and Daniels and Pugh and Wilson, etc. And it's just, yeah, it's smart. It's you know, not trying to be too clever, and a lot of good memories from that first season. You know, obviously recently we've had the palm tree one from last year, the greeny one. You know, there's been some odd ones. The pink one I did actually quite like the pink one as it goes as well. That was the third kit, wasn't it? So, but yeah, I'm sticking with that. I'm still waiting for, Steve knows, I said this the other day, I'm still waiting, and maybe our away kit this year will be the, you know, green and black stripes, like the 1990s all over again, and obviously, like, you know, McDougall as well in the 70s. So I'd love it if it was exactly the same, but green instead of red. Even the blue and black stripes as well reminds me of Effa Nkoku and Jimmy Quinn. That front line partnership. So whether it will be tried to be something clever or not, who knows? But I'd love it to be as simple as that.
That's Aaron's favourite home tops from the Premier League era. What's Steve gone for then? Steve gone for the 2018-19 home top, gone for the 2015-16 away, and the light green shoulders, black top 2017-2018. So take it away, Steve. Why those tops? Any players it reminds you of?
No, it's not necessarily players as such. It's just stylings. I've just done it purely on stylings. I like that 18-19 home top because of the black sleeves predominantly, and with the Umbro detailing and the gold trim around the. They sort of did a gold trim around the V-neck, down around the shirt sleeves, and if you can see, it's got the Umbro. I've got it here actually. So that's your sleeve, and it's got the Umbro detailing along the sleeve. I thought it was nice little touches like that across that shirt. So I really like that one, and it carried on from, I think we'd started using the gold trim a bit when we came into the Premier League, and we sort of stuck with it a bit. So I thought that was nice because we'd done it. We put it in the badge, the gold. I just think it's a nice touch to keep to the shirt, especially if it's just as a sort of detail. So I really like that one. I like Aaron's one as well because it was the round neck version pretty much, but with red sleeves. So that was a close second for me. This is my second choice. Well, the away kit. I haven't got I haven't got the Premier League version. But like Aaron said, it's very smart, very simple. What I like about it, it's one of the few shirts I've ever seen. It's just got colour fade in it. It's just simple fade from blue to black. They're just quite nice, quite clean. The only thing I don't like on it is the old Carbrini. I think that's a bit the old cheap days, wasn't it?
Cheap Football League, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels Football League.
It's not as great. But, and then moving on to the last one, which was was it 17-18 third shirt?
Yeah, the green.
With the great, yeah. So I'm trying to this is about as garish as I get. So it's a plain black top, but it's got a luminous green strip across the top. Which I thought, do you know what? I'll throw caution to the wind and get a bit of luminous on there. So yeah, I just quite like that one where it was. It's a bit like Aaron's one he's wearing now, just a bit more colour in it.
Now, I do need to apologise because we invited Keith on and I didn't give Keith a lot of time to prepare for the halftime show and what his favourite kits are. So it's my fault. But Keith,
Holland 86.
We've given you
Holland 88, Steve. I thought you had football knowledge, mate. I'm expecting a bit more than that. Come on. I actually go with Aaron in all three choices. I quite like the mottles. You know, that one that faded in. I quite like that one as a home kit as well.
Championship season though.
No, that's no Premier League. I think it. Would I be right in saying that would have been the one pandemic season?
You might be right, yeah.
You might be right. You are. See, my memory's going. See, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but yeah, you're right. It's Championship, but it looked really. I really like that one, but no, definitely as a Premier League kit. 2016-17. I think that's universally loved, isn't it? And then I quite like the teal one as well, but generally speaking, the blue black one. And I always think of, I don't know, I've got a Steve Cook. I have no idea why, but I just think would I ever see that kit, it's Steve Cook, for weird reasons. And then the black one from last season. In fact, I wanted that, but I just got the rubbishy lightning strike one. So
Aaron might sell it to you.
Well, as long as it's not at 65 quid, I don't mind. So nothing set. I like the way it highlights gambling. That's what really gets me to me. So,
controversy.
Well, there was some comments from our social media post which said, "Love it, just don't like the gambling." But I'm pretty sure that's disappearing.
You can buy it without it, can't you?
You can buy it without it. So, look, great fun there with regards to the halftime show, talking about our favourite kits. But a very good chat comment here from Steve Connor. Gold will definitely feature in one of our two remaining kits. Seriously, do anyone got an opinion on that? I think gold will feature somewhere.
Well, yeah, I don't mind the gold trim. But gold as a primary or secondary colour would be just.
We did a really
just
nice
horrific
kit. Was it first championships? It wasn't gold, but it was white with gold trim on it.
Yes,
gold. It's really nice. Yeah. One of the best sort of away kits I've seen for a long time, but couldn't put it in this because it was championship. But I think, like you see in the background with Keith's badge on his chair there, it's gold stylings, the lettering's in gold, so it would make sense to sort of do some detailing, some colour coding with sort of some gold trim in there.
Generally speaking, I tend to lean towards the primary colours rather than pinks and roses, and the exception is the teal, but yeah, the primary colours rather than
watch this space, I reckon, is what we're going to have to do, clearly, because hopefully the second and the third, the away and the third, will be out very, very soon, especially as they head off to Marbella and pre-season.
What's the better there? What's the colours of the Knights?
Gold.
Yeah, golden Knights, isn't it?
So let's watch this space. So the home kit's out, other kits to come out very, very soon. You are watching us on YouTube and Twitter. Thank you for the interaction. Do hit the like button. Do subscribe. we'll get talking about some transfer rumours very, very soon. We'll just discuss very quickly another touchy subject, but maybe not dwell on it too much, and we'll try and get the channel video upbeat at the end. But do hit the like button. You're watching Cherries Red Army. Okay, so tickets were also released for prices with categories, and you'll see there the teams in different categories between A, B, and C. You might have an opinion on which team is in what category, and then the prices as well. I mean, in a nutshell, guys, prices have gone up again with the tickets. I know that if you're not a season ticket holder, you're going to maybe feel this. Well, you are going to feel this because of extra admin fees as well. Aaron, I mean, look, you put some travel in as well, of course, from where you're coming from, and you're going to follow the team. But yeah, again, there is a few price increases here on the ticket prices.
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's two ways of looking at this. And, you know, I'm not. So, first of all, obviously, I'm not a season ticket holder. So, for me, and obviously my boys, it's quite steep increases on a match-by-match basis. I think, you know, for obviously the Category A games, desperate to see those ones, of course. We'll probably lose. The you know, it's like £7 increase. So, you know, you're looking at 20% really. So double inflation, we're actually over double inflation now. So the one side of the argument is, and I do get it, that prices haven't gone up. I sit in the North Stands. It's been £32 for me, I think, now for the last 7 or 8 years. So I get that. I get prices haven't gone up. It might have been better if it's gone up slightly incrementally over the last few years as well. But from that point of view, you know, I guess, you know, with 6 years of Premier League football, it's difficult for me to argue that fact that it hasn't gone up after 8 years. I get that. But the other argument is that the season ticket versus match day pricing is a killer, because, you know, with this whole £3 fee which I'm paying every single time I buy my tickets, as well as I'll be logs scrambling on at 10 o'clock, whatever I'm doing to try and get my seats. You know, I think it works out. I think Sam and Tom did a piece where it works out about £150 more than a season ticket, which is ludicrous. You know, I've had maximum home points now for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, 8 seasons. They're not selling more season tickets. I get that because of the size of the ground. They want to get more people in who haven't got season tickets. I do get that. But, you know, the likes of, you know, I guess Steve as well, myself, who've got maximum home points and have done for some time, there's just nothing there for us. There's nothing there for us. You know, we're paying a lot more than season ticket people. And are season ticket people more loyal? Well, they're not really, because I haven't been able to buy a season ticket for years. I did used to have one back in League One, ironically, and moved away from the area. But, you know, as I said, I got maximum home points, so I'm going to literally every home game. The other side of the coin is, again, sorry, on that subject again, is that, you know, you look incrementally, what are they going to be earning out of this? 200,000, 300,000, £400,000. It's peanuts to Bill Foley and everybody else in the grand scheme of it. So is it worth it? But then I guess, you know, you can argue that with anything, any incremental revenue is worth it. They want to build up hospitality. They want to do up the facilities, etc. You know, everything is worth it, I guess, at the end of the day. So I'm feeling it personally. I can see both sides of it. I know Steve's going to have his say in a minute. At this stage, I'm not on the, I think we're being shafted stage yet. That might change if more things come down the line. But at this stage, I don't see that. I'm still feeling very positive about the whole situation. That you know, Bill Foley is someone who comes in and does what he says. You know, Max wasn't able to build the stadium, or build the training facilities, amazing as he was for us. Foley is going to come in and he's building the training facilities. It looks like we are going to get a new stadium. We are, you know, we've got a manager we're all very excited about. Hopefully we're going to very soon buy players we're all very excited about. So I'm still more upbeat than I am not, but it's just a bit it's not great. That obviously paying a lot more this season. So I'm kind of in the middle at the moment. I can see both sides of it, but it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Stephen says should be the same price for every premium game over the season, not in categories.
Oh yeah, that as well. The category thing I just don't get. I go to watch Bournemouth. Yeah. I don't understand that. Yeah.
So I'm trying to just balance the argument a little bit, I suppose, Steve, because I do agree with what Aaron's saying. But Bill Foley is pumping millions into the training ground. He has confidently said that he's going to build a new stadium, which will hopefully change the circumstances around season ticket holders, people like yourself that have been for many years and pretty much go to every game. Should everything? Oh, I don't know. It's difficult. Do they just see that they want to recover something?
Right. Okay. I'll liken us to somebody that another team that we've come up through the divisions with, and who we now are seemingly wanting to emulate, who have also built a new stadium very recently in Brentford. And I just want to read you this from their website. John Varney, Chief Executive. We are very mindful that the cost of living crisis is biting hard for people across the country and within our communities. Ensuring that football remains affordable and accessible is really important for us and our fans. That is why we have frozen prices and introduced a new direct debit scheme. Now, we apparently want to emulate Brentford and be, same sort of model and do sort of things the same way as them. Well, you had an opportunity here, Bill, with, to not alienate yourself straight. Okay, they didn't come in straight away and alienate themselves, but I think this is really going to get a lot of people's backs up. It's certainly got my back up. I don't mind a price increase, and like Aaron said, we haven't had one for a long, long time. But I've worked it out to about, for me, it's about 13%, and that's big. It's big for me. It's big. I'm not poor. I can afford to go to football, but it's becoming increasingly more and more unaffordable, especially with the amount of travel I do. You add in the fact that I've got my two boys that come home and away with me, food prices, all the rest of which are, again, we've been told is all going to go up. And we're told this is to, we're going to get a better experience. Now, I don't remember anybody, I know we've stuck a lick of paint on the place and stuck some flags up. I don't recall any conversations that the fans were having last season going, God, you know what, make this place better? Can of paint and some flags. They're doing stuff that, in my eyes, is just smoke and mirrors to them just going to be incrementing prices from that here on in. I remember watching when they first took over a video where somebody interviewed a reporter for the Golden Knights, and they talked about his business model over there. One of the key things they said was the prices just kept going up and up and up and up. And I'm really fearful that's going to be the case here. I hope it's not, because it's a different sport over here. It's the working man sport traditionally. It's not the rich and affluent game, although it seems like that's what's been trying to be pushed. I don't see. I get what Sam and Tom were saying about the other day. Sam was saying, trying to explain that it's almost like they're trying to get, when they build the new stadium, they're going to have a certain amount of other people available to buy tickets, and they want to have those people competing with the current bunch of people that are competing for that 4,000 or so tickets that we have that aren't season tickets. I think that's a bit of a kick in the balls for the likes of me and Aaron, to be honest. I think they should do something for, full points holders that have been for years and years and years. There's something they could do. And don't get me started on the £3 thing, because that's a nonsense, personally. Why are we even still on paper ticketing system? We have we've last season they put in new scanners. I mean, surely to God, printing tickets is more expensive for everybody. Yeah, I know, but it used to be the working man's game, and now it's not, unfortunately. But anyway, get back to the tickets. We used to have. We've now got new scanners in the stadiums. Why do we even need paper tickets? Why do we need admin fees of £3? It's just another money maker in my eyes. Come into the digital age and send us e-tickets, and we can use those scanners like everybody else does.
Is it just because, Keith, that we are behind Brentford and Brighton because they've already got those facilities? I think Brentford are looking at a multi-year shirt, which hasn't been done since the 90s, I don't think, where they're going to wear the same shirt for 2 seasons. And credit to what Brentford have done. So, I don't know, maybe when we have a new stadium, we might do stuff like that. We really don't know. And like Steve said, he can only go off what he's seen in previous projects that Bill Foley's had with the Golden Vegas Knights. But he has brought in a guy that's hot property, and he switched up the management, and we got a proper manager involved. So it's a really delicate one. And I think I see all sides, I suppose.
This is the price of football. And it isn't just attending games, is it? Sky, that's gone up. BT Sport, that's gone up. Concessions, that's going up. Travel, that's going up. So there is a cost of living crisis. And if you want to pop out and buy a 30, 40 million pound player, somebody's going to pay for it. Do you think it's going to be Bill, or is he going to pass it on to fans? And this is the conundrum in football. I've been watching, or listening, I should say, this week and last week to the hype machine of the transfer window. And now you're into like 110, 115, 120 million pound players. Well, somebody's going to pay for that. That's going to be the fans, because they're going to pass it on. So there comes a point where it hasn't been a working man's game since the Premier League was established in 1992. The moment you take it off terrestrial TV and you're asking people to pay to watch your national game, and I will refuse to do that. I have Amazon Prime and I watch La Liga because it's part of the package. I still stick to radio because, in part, because it is so expensive. But why am I paying to have the likes of Gary Neville lecture us, or Roy Keane and all that? I just want to watch a football game. And this is the price that you're going to pay. So that at some point, and it isn't just Bournemouth, it's across the piece. And in the Championship, the prices are rising quite steeply. So there comes a point, and judging by what the FA's announced, or what they're intending to do with the FA Cup and sell it off to the Premier League, there's got to be a wider debate than just like rising ticket prices. Bill's come in to make a bit of cash. He will spend money, but he will pass it on, and this is the price. So there's a lot of, I know a lot of Chelsea fans and a lot of Arsenal fans who used to go. They've stopped going. They're going to non-league now. There is a choice, but that, as I say, every time somebody says, "Oh, we've got to pop out and buy," as I say, 25 million, 30 million, 40 million pound player, and which is it's an important part of it, and we have to generate money, and we haven't been generating money at the moment for a while. 30 million pound profit isn't going to cover you for the Premier. Then you're going to pay for it. Maybe people should be a bit more circumspect and think about actually making money through other means.
You mentioned non-league. What's interesting, I live a 3-minute walk from Boreham Wood, and I mean the only solace I've got is that for me to take the boys to Boreham Wood is more expensive than me to take them to a home game at Bournemouth even next season, because Boreham Wood is like 28 quid for an adult, 12 quid for juniors.
So the club's not going to grow, is it?
More expensive, and so obviously I'm agreeing with everything that Steve said and Keithy, but even to go to Boreham Wood is a bloody fortune, and it's obviously I'm used to seeing Premier League football. But
don't you find it a bit of a kick in the teeth that they're sitting there coming in and we're going all about the community, we're all work this together as one, but you ultimately you lot are going to pay for it. That's the way I look at it. That really grates on me now. The montage videos of people putting their hands in their pockets, putting money in buckets. They're using that to try and jazz up this image of the club that we're some big family and we're all together. But yet you're going to get the brunt of this.
But unfortunately, Steve, if you want to do things in the community, you've got to pay people to do that. And then, unfortunately, you're going to have to pay people wages, and you're going to have to do these sort of things. I think there's a better way of doing it, and I think
Paul done better in the last 4 games of the season.
Well, I was
another £10 million.
Just about to say that if we'd have won one of those last 4 games, if we'd have won one of those last 4 games, it wouldn't have to put any bloody increases up. I mean, that's so.
But that's not realistic. They're going to put up the prices.
They might still have done that, but £5 million we could have had for a better finish to the season.
I get that, but look at what Fulham, look at the way they put up their prices for one stand, and yet they filled it out. They filled it out. While people
£8 a game, I think.
But while people are prepared to pay this sort of money, then they're not going to stop. What might change, and it's across the Premier League. It isn't just us. It's across the Premier League, despite the sovereign wealth funds and all that. What might change is if you're starting to see empty seats during Premier League games on the telly. That might they must stop to think, well, hold up a minute, are we pricing everyone out? We don't know. So I'm not defending this. As I say, I refuse to pay Sky, and I have done since '92, because I'm not paying for that Ponzi scheme. But they're, BT and all these guys, because, as I say, I just want to watch a football game. I'm more than happy to listen to a football game. But people want all the jazz, and that's what's driving it. And at some point, fans have got to decide, what their priorities are, unfortunately. But I agree, this is well out of order, and maybe the independent body might sort it out. But you want to do things in the community, you've got to pay for that. It doesn't come. We're not the Soviet Union.
The quality of product we're seeing, and who knows, that product might be really, really good in this forthcoming season. But at the minute, we're no better off than we were, but yet we're paying more money. There's nothing to say that we won't end up getting relegated. I don't want that to happen, obviously. But then we paid more money to watch us relegated. Possibly, it's potentially could happen. Also,
the conversation.
I think what's our season ticket price? Nearly £600. I believe that's in the top 10 of the Premier League. Are we a top 10 club? No, we're not currently. So why are we charging top 10 prices?
I suppose it's all going to come down to whether that would be different with a bigger stadium.
It's all to do with the area we're in.
The conversation will continue to drive on until we see a new stadium.
They know that there's people, there's affluent enough people in the Bournemouth area who will pay those prices. If there's people
there's a small number of seats up for grabs. There's more number of seats. The fact is, Steve, if I decide it's too much for me now, someone else would buy that ticket.
Exactly.
There's only 4,000 tickets available every single week.
Yeah. The conversation will rumble on. Sorry, Keith. Final thought.
Just a final thought. But if everyone's looking at the German model, which a lot of people on the initially it looks great until you get to become like Hamburg or Werder Bremen, because you can't. It's all right sticking to these principles, but other clubs like the RB group, they will come in and they will say we're going to spend, and it's all that. It's we can all wave for red flags and be all about that, but unfortunately, the day that football became a professional game, it's always been about money. Always been about money.
We'll rumble on, no doubt.
Yeah.
And we want you to subscribe to Cherries Red Army. Hit the like button. Look, we're going to close out the last part of this stream with you. Thanks for joining us interactively. If you watch this back on replay, thank you very much. Do get your thoughts in the comments. If you've got any questions for the panel, do stick them in the chat and we might pick a few out. But let's get back onto stuff on the field, shall we? Let's just have a look at the rumours that are doing some of the rounds in the transfer window. Quickly come about an outgoing potentially, Aaron. Mark Travers might be going back to the Championship. I think Millwall is the link. He got the Golden Glove the last time he played in that league. I know I spoke about a few months ago, about whether that would be a smart move for Mark Travers, but I also understood him sitting on the bench wasn't a smart move either. He's on a long-term contract. I still have belief in Mark Travers. Maybe he does need a full season in the Championship. I just think it can go one way or the other, but it does look like Mark Travers might be going out on loan, and we might be looking at another goalkeeper coming in behind Neto and Randolph, etc.
He needs to be playing regularly at his age. He's too good to be just sitting doing nothing. Neto's clearly ahead of him at the moment, quite rightly so. So I think, I wouldn't want to let him go permanently at all. I still think, his future is exceptionally bright. A lot of great attributes, but he needs to be playing regularly for himself. And if that means a season loan at a Championship club, then so be it. I think, he'll still be our player, but he gets game time. And looks like we might be bringing Darlow in or someone else who I imagine will go to number 2 ahead of Randolph, who'll stay at number 3. But no problem with that. No issues with that at all. As I said, I don't want to lose him, but he has to be playing at his age regularly. I can understand that.
When does it get to a point where Mark Travers might be in a bit of a situation where he might not reach the heights that he thought he might do after that really successful season in our promotion, Keith?
He's still very young. Goalkeepers tend to get better, late 20s, early 30s. So he's a long way to go before we can decide if he's reached potential or not. Personally, I think it'd be a good move for him. Millwall, a decent club. They had a really good go at it last season, and so they want to strengthen. But by the same token, he is a prospect still, and I would be sad to see him go. So it's a difficult one. Ultimately, he has to decide what's best for his career, and if he wants to be playing regularly, obviously the Millwall move is a great move. But if he's willing to learn under Neto's only got a couple of years left. So he might want to bide his time, and actually he might get an opportunity. As I say, this is a new manager, and he might see things differently. He might want to play cup games. I don't know, and it's also how much we're going to get for him. So it all remains to be seen.
Do you want to see Mark Travers push Neto all the way, Steve, or is this the right decision? Because Mark Travers could have a really good season in the Championship again, and we might just go, yeah, we know that. We know he's good in the Championship, but can he then come back in a year and become number 1 again? Because we're not sure at this level whether he can do it week in, week out.
No, we're not sure, and it's down to him to show us that, to prove to us that he can do it. So it does seem logical for him to go out on loan, because he's certainly not. He's only going to sit on the bench, as we've said. I don't really understand the reasoning behind the Darlow thing, because we've got a very bright and upcoming other goalkeeper in Cameron Plain, who was in the training videos. And you're basically looking for a number 3, aren't you? Really, because Randolph could be second choice, quite simply. But then again, it's nice to know that where my hiking ticket prices is going. If that is what I'm going to buy Carl Darlow. Brilliant. So yeah, Travers isn't going to get games. So yes, he needs to go and prove himself somewhere else, and hopefully come back stronger and better for it.
We might see some more outgoings as the transfer window progresses, because we know we've got a loaded squad with Championship players, if we're being completely honest, and very, very good Championship players. And there'll need to be some space created for new players coming in, because we are expecting quite a few players to come in. But at the moment, Keith, it is just the one with JK, Justin Kluivert. We know that we are desperate for fullbacks, maybe 1 at right back, 2 at left back. The Vineyard deal seems to be one that keeps going on and on and on. Apparently he's still in Bournemouth, and it's striking a deal. I saw one today about potentially another loan with a permanent deal next season. And then there's some rumours around other fullbacks. I think it's Kirk if I've said that correctly, who's an upcoming talent, and also an Inter Milan fullback, potentially about 28, 29 years old. So looking at some really good players, established players, some up and coming players, but we need to probably get something through the door at fullback position because we want to have a good look at these in the next few weeks in pre-season.
I would imagine the priority is the fullback position. I mean, Kirk I would be watching over the last season. I'm an AZ Alkmaar fan. They're not my first, my primary team, but and he's tremendous. He's the real deal. He's raw. Don't get me wrong, but for pace, the amount of times he wings the ball back high up and he whips in across, he's exactly fits the bill. I don't know if he'll start because, as I say, he's 19. You England fans, you'll know all about Hungary, and he was on the bench for that game. So he's highly regarded. Benfica are after him, and I believe Dortmund are now after him. So he's highly regarded. But I think Leeds and Leicester have dropped out of that. Guzman is obviously German international. I think he's had a topsy-turvy season. So, but international experience. I think I get the impression if the Vigna deal, and it seems to me there's a problem with Roma. They've just been fined £5 million. So I don't know if it's anything to do with that. I know Vida wants to be here, but I don't know if Roma are being difficult about the fee. So we'll arrange to be seen. But I think Guzman is the backup. And this young Frenchman, is he at Galatasaray?
Galatasaray, yeah.
Yeah. He looks an interesting prospect. I don't know much about him, but I would certainly say Kakazi is he's a bit Harry Arter, he's quite aggressive, and he scores a few goals. But AZ just dropped off because they were fighting 2 campaigns and they didn't have the squad there, and that's where they went. But he was their outstanding player last season.
Vigna, Aaron, just sounds like a no-brainer. Just get it done. We need 2 left backs. We know what we get with him. He scores us goals. If we are on the front foot a lot more under Iraola, then he'll be a good player for us. I just feel like get the Vigna one done and then get another player like Kirk who might be an up-and-coming player. And we've got 2 really exciting fullbacks. Not as easy as that, of course, work to do. But the Vigna one, surely we have a little bit more... We're in a good place with that one to get something done. It just seems to be dragging on a bit.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't get it over the line. It might well be another season loan, which is fine. And I mean, he was having his hair cut with Senesi in Bournemouth today. He put it all over Instagram that he literally, they were in the barbers together. So he's obviously still in the area. He's mates with everybody. It looks like it's going to happen. And as you say, he's perfect for Iraola's football because, as we saw last season, he's far better going forward than he is defensively. So he can obviously do the defensive work, but he's going to be bombing forward, and that's what he likes to do. So that's really exciting. If we get any of those other names you've mentioned at left back, then I'm all for that because I think that they're all good prospects and do well. And then obviously we talked about the right backs. We've mentioned that Fredericks theoretically is the kind of ideal right back that he wants because he's got speed and he gets up and down, but he can't keep himself fit. And Adam Smith, I think, certainly will be around as backup 100%. So I would still go for one right back, 2 left backs. And obviously, we still need that elusive Lerma replacement because Lewis isn't going to be, a first choice for me. So, yeah, I mean, as Keith alluded to already, like there's various number 10s and it's not necessarily a rigid 4-2-3-1. I think that's his favourable position theoretically, but obviously flexibility in that and looseness. But I also saw apparently Lefay's move has broken down.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether people just because he plays for Lorient, he's obviously a very highly rated talent, but because he plays for Lorient, we think, he's going to come to us. It's an obvious move, but maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's who we need, and we've also been linked with Plateau, another winger. I mean, we seem to be overloaded with wingers. That wouldn't be a top priority for me, getting any more wingers in, really. As Keith said, there's other priorities there.
I get the impression that's just lazy journalism, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I think we'll be associated with wingers until the cows come home. But the one player, another AZ Alkmaar guy that we might want to look at, who's very Billing-esque, is Reinders. He plays a little bit deeper, but he's a provider. He's ever so strong. He's 6'2", A great touch. He's been at the heart of everything good at AZ as well. So, and I think he fancies a move. But again, I think Inter are looking at it. No, AC Milan are looking at him. But that's who we're now competing against, is Benfica and the big boys of European football. So, but I think that the Kake's one looks more promising. Leeds and Leicester, as I say, have dropped out of the race since he got relegated. So it looks like
it'd be nice to get it all done early, before they go to Marbella and get some players in, because it's been a few days now.
It's up to the selling club, and this is the thing. I mean, we know that Wiener wants to be here. It's what Roma want to do. And he's still got, I think, a year on his contract. They could withhold that. So he's trying to force the move. But if Roma say no, and what Jose says, no, that's not happening, then it's not going to happen. So it's always the selling club. It's always in control of these situations.
And the final thought in this transfer rumour discussion on this weekly stream, Steve, is I do agree with Aaron. That centre midfield does look slightly weak for me. I think it's time for Lewis to have a new challenge. Will Billing be here? Will he play a different role? I really don't know, because I've been I've been saying that Billing will probably move on this summer. Joe Rothwell's a good player. Can he stay fit? But in central midfield, Gavin Kilkenny is probably not going to cut it. It is an area of the pitch where we do need to find something special.
Yeah, we definitely need a ball winner, don't we? We don't really have what you would say remaining, anyone that's a go get, a Harry Arter or a Jeff Lerma, have we? No one that's going to go and harry people around the pitch. It's a difficult one because it depends on how Iraola sees, he's going to look at all these players that he's got coming back, the likes of Gav Kilkenny, and he could see that he might fit in to a system in a different way that we hadn't seen before. I'm not suggesting that will happen, but there's a possibility there that he might see something in players that we haven't seen because they've been playing in different systems. And his system, he might think, well, that's a good fit. But it's a difficult one. There's not, those sorts of players are hard to come by. And I know we've only really been linked with Zakaria, isn't it? And I think
he might be going to West Ham.
Yeah, I said we've been linked. I don't think I knew it wasn't going to happen because it seems like he might be Declan Rice's replacement at West Ham. But apart from that, we haven't really been linked with anyone. And I agree with what you're saying.
Ryan Deers we had.
Well, I was about to say that when you brought him up. I wondered if it was him that we've been linked with or if it was Kirkes. I couldn't remember which one. Or was it
both of them? Right,
okay. So, there's that option. I don't really know much about him. Keith obviously does know a lot more than I do. But, it's certainly, if you look at it on previous seasons, the likes of Lewis Cook, Gav Kilkenny, Joe Rothwell. I do worry about his style of football taking its toll on a few players and needing to have a bit of cover in each position. So whether, they've been struggling with, there's few of those players that struggle with injury over the last couple of seasons. And if it's more high intensity, are they going to struggle even more? The likes of, say Fredericks fits the bill, but like you say, it could knock him out. It could knock, if his body can't keep up with it and he's out after 2 or 3 weeks, that puts that to scuppers, doesn't it? So I still think there's a lot of business we need to do, really, because I don't think what we've got is quite up to it. But like I say, he might see stuff we don't in some of the players.
Do you know what? This might be controversial from Luke. Sorry, Keith. This might be controversial from Luke, but I like Danjuma, but haven't really forgiven him after dropping us for Spurs. But I tell you what, that would open up a discussion in a few weeks if Danjuma suddenly becomes a player that might be linked with
to Palace again, doesn't he now?
Yeah, I don't foresee him coming here. Just Kluivert is the guy. I know this is a habit that Bournemouth fans have a tendency, because he's played for us before, we assume he's going to come here again. I think and again about the midfield setup, I don't know if he necessarily plays with an actual holding. They alternate. And that Rothwell-Billing partnership, one drops deep while one goes forward, then he alternates, because we're going to play quite high up and be proactive. And that's why the first line of defence is the forwards. And then pressing in and closing down passing lanes in the midfield rather than having a Jeff Lerma or a Browning or that holding midfielder. I think he's looking for flexibility. Potentially, you could see Lewis Cook actually fitting in that more than in a 3. I think Rothwell is certainly that.
I think.
Remember,
There's 2 players you don't hear in a sentence very much.
Well,
Lerma and Browning.
What a partnership.
they were but they were whole men, weren't they? They were half men.
Interesting stuff. I think we're going to learn a lot more in about 2 or 3 weeks' time when we played Hibernian and we got a few more pre-season games under our belt. It's been an interesting stream as always. Look, our regular weekly catch-ups with AFC Bournemouth news and you guys in the chat. It's been a lot of fun. I want to thank the monthly members for constantly supporting the channel. Thank you to you. We're able to do these streams. You can become a member or donate at buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. Do hit the like button, do subscribe, and do comment if you're watching this back on replay. Steve, we'll close this stream out. We'll have many conversations leading up to that first game in August. Summarize your week for this stream.
In one word, disappointed.
Oh.
Let down by this. Yeah, sorry, I can't. I just can't mask it. I've really been upset by the whole ticketing thing, and
rightly so, Steve, because it's a lot of money. You've got a family.
Yeah, it's not trying to think me, but it seems like we've said people like myself and Aaron have been sort of shafted a little bit here. So that's it. It might suit a lot of other people, but it certainly doesn't suit me. So unfortunately, this week's not been a great week.
But we'll get better weeks from Steve. I promise.
Let's just sign somebody and I'll cheer up. It'd be fine.
Absolutely, Aaron. What I was going to say was best way to turn a sad face into a smiley face is to sign some players, look really good in pre-season, and we'll have some more content coming in the next few weeks.
Look, don't get me wrong. As that aside, it's still very positive. You know, I'm excited as I have been for a long time about a season. So I'm being attacked by a moth. I'm very excited. I'm excited about the new manager. Yeah. Brian Musgorry. There you go, Brian Musgorry.
Nice.
I'm very excited about the new manager. I'm very excited about the imminent, hopefully, transfers that are coming through the door, the style of football next season, and the off the field developments that are clearly coming. So overall, it's positive. Bigger picture is that I'm hoping that this next week does bring some more transfers, because it's kind of we got one through the door, and it's kind of a bit like players are off to Marbella soon, and it's great watching the likes of Kilkenny and the like, but I'd love to see some new signings coming in, and I think it's also important for them to bed in for on these training camps, because that's really important for bonding. But as Keith said, it's dependent on the selling club, obviously, but as long as we get them through the door and include them as soon as possible, then hopefully by next week we got more to talk about.
Thank you, Stephen, for joining us this evening interactively. Cheers, boys. Good as always. Up the cherries in all departments. Mark Singleton, thank you very much. Thank you, Sammy, Omid. Great discussion, guys. Only 6 weeks to go. Signings will help.
Can I do a quick quiz question to the chat? No Googling. How old is Marcus Browning?
How old is Marcus Browning in the chat? You've
God.
got 30 seconds from Steve. No Googling. Cameron says, great stream as usual. And Luke Andrews, great.
Go on, you can all have a guess as well. I've just looked him up.
Everyone.
I reckon 57, 58.
I was going to say 58.
Okay, Kirk?
58. I'll just be a sheep.
Come on, are we going to get any? All right, carry on. We'll see if anyone comes out.
Omid's gone 64.
Oh, it can't be.
Jesus, Omid. He's not going to be happy with you. Mark's closest.
Oh, 54 was he?
53.
Chris has gone 58.
He's gone back up. It's lower than everybody suggested so far.
Sammy's gone 59. Liam's gone 45.
He's not that young, Liam.
Go on,
48.
How old is
52.
Marcus Browning? Is he older than you?
52. He's just older than me, yeah.
Gosh.
56,
Oh,
Stephen went 56 and a half. Fantastic. Great fun there. Just final quiz question from Steve. Keffy T, great to have you on this evening. Difficult conversations at times, positive conversations around the future on the pitch around Andoni. We'll find out more in a few weeks. But yeah, it's been great to have you tonight.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
You definitely will. And thank you to you, the fans, for joining us. We hope you have a good rest of the week. More content to come. Do subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and make sure you stay tuned because transfers surely have to be on their way very, very soon. But Andoni is in the office. He is orchestrating on the training pitch, and we've got pre-season coming in Marbella next week. So we've got some games coming up. Is it next week?
Poole Town.
And we've got more content coming next week. So thanks for joining us this evening. Do get those comments below if you're watching this back on replay. Do enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you on the next one. Up Cherries.
Up the Cherries.
Cheers.
Up the chairs.